Yes, sir.
Michael, I see the back cover of your book has a strong endorsement from Ann Coulter, who happens to be a very strong friend of the state of Israel. I'm very curious about your opinion of the Coulter controversy. I have my opinion, and
Which one?
the latest one having to do with the Jews. And I have my opinion. I usually get attacked for my opinion in Orthodox trials, for sure. I would like to have your opinion.
No, look, I hate to say this, but because this is not necessarily good, but the idea that Anne is some kind of anti-Semite, she's dating, or she was until 2 weeks ago, she was dating a Jewish guy. She has dated almost entirely Jewish guys, with very few exceptions. She was dating a Muslim guy for a while, despite her very nasty remarks about Muslims. She's now otherwise engaged. Not engaged. Don't let that rumor start. But otherwise involved. No, Anne, who I know, is not an anti-Semite. I think part of what happened, if you listen to the tape, her on Donnie Deutsch, Donnie Deutsch led her into this thing, and what she was basically stating is what Christians believe. And, you know, one of the things that I think religious Jews and Orthodox Jews have a better sense of is, you know, okay, Christians believe that it would be a good thing if everybody in the world, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, everybody became Christian. Duh! They've been talking about this for 2,000 years. They've been failing with us for 2,000 years. By the way, one of the things that's amazing is the amount of resources that they put into converting Jews and the lack of success they have. One of the facts that people need to know, Raoul and Jean Garect wrote a very good book about the so-called Messianic Jews, the people of Jewish, and most Messianic congregations have very, very few people of ethnic Jewish background. It's mostly Christian people of Gentile background who want to pretend that they're Jewish. They like it because they feel it brings it closer to a certain Jewish guy from Nazareth. Let's take 3 more questions, then we'll call it a night. Yes, sir.
Do you think that there is an unsatisfied demand for entertainment that does have greater values, perhaps shows that arguably, you know, show the heroics of some of our soldiers, or, you know, things that portray some of the valiant efforts that the people have made on behalf of our country? I mean,
without question, and that should be very obvious to everybody. Take a look. This new National Treasure movie, like the other National Treasure movie, they're basically patriotic. They're affectionate toward America. They do very well. Movies that run down America do terribly. One of the most successful movies of the year. People like to go to the movies to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. This movie Enchanted by the Disney company, it's like a license to print money. I mean, people can't get enough of it. It's a fairy tale movie. It's delightful. It's positive. It's upbeat. That's what people like. There's a huge demand for that. And these people are sick and crazy and demented. The other big movie released on Christmas Day, you know what it is? It's Sweeney Todd. And, you know, no, Sweeney Todd, for those of you who don't know, is about a barber who slices people's throats, and they dump the bodies into the basement, and they're cooked up into meat pies that are served to people. Nothing quite says Christmas Day like cannibalism and mass murder. No, definitely not on the DOD. So yes, this is something that I've been talking about for now. By the way, every single year there are new headlines that confirm what has been my theme for 20 years. Honestly, I've been talking about this and writing about it. I wrote a book called Hollywood versus America. That was the whole theme. There was a headline in USA Today. They said, "Dark themes failing at box office." Duh! That headline could run any time, particularly in holiday season. This is insanity. So the answer is yes. And again, people who invest in more uplifting, feel-good movies tend to do very well. Yes, last question.
We recently saw a movie called Bella, which was absolutely wonderful. So I wonder what you think of it.
Delightful. And you may say that movie...
It wasn't in Hollywood, was it?
No. Yeah. It was, that movie came out with my Hashkama on it. It was, because I Hashkama on it. I did like it a great deal, and it was certainly a pro-life movie. There's another movie that's doing very well right now. It's not really a family-friendly movie, but it is pro-life. It is called Juno, which is about a 16-year-old girl who gets into trouble and decides to not, quote, do away with the baby, and wants to try to find a good home with which to give the baby for adoption. Look, Americans, I mean, we've all lived most of our lives in the United States of America. Americans are wonderful people. And not just American Jews. Our neighbors, our Gentile neighbors, are wonderful people. They are sentimental. They are giving. No nation on earth, and this is true, gives to charity like the United States of America. No nation on earth has the kind of neighborliness that we do here. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. It's to such an extent that you know, I mentioned this before. I was very struck by learning that Lubavitcher Rebbe referred to the United States as the Malchus Shel Chesed. And it really is. This is the ultimate kingdom of kindness. And one of the great things about the modern Orthodox movement has been the recognition that patriotism is appropriate and it's beautiful. It doesn't, I beg pardon?
Every Shabbos we pray for the government.
Absolutely. We pray for Medina Israel, and we pray for the United States of America. And one of the things, that was a very fascinating thing to me at the debate today, and I'll conclude with this. And this is one of those areas where Dr. Lukens and I absolutely agree. Somebody asked at the debate today, for those of you who weren't there, what would you do if there was ever a deep conflict and you had to choose between America and Israel? And we basically both gave the same answer. It is virtually unthinkable. Because look, in today's world, anything that harms America will harm Israel. It could be absolutely true. And by the way, anything that harms Israel will harm America. Both are true. These two countries, like it or not, are tied together. And let me tell you one of the reasons why. These are the two countries on earth. And by the way, I want to say this over in the name of a very, very great American and a very, very great Jew named Dr. David Galanter. For those of you who don't know David Galanter was a victim of the Unabomber. He lost an eye and he lost a hand when a bomb was sent to him. He teaches computer science at Yale. And he has become much more religious. And he's somebody, and he makes this point, it's a powerful point. Most nations grow out of the fact that people are born into a certain ethnicity. Why does France exist? There's no idea of France. It's because there are a lot of people who are French. They speak French, they were born in France, their grandparents were born in France, etc., etc., etc. That's one of the reasons they have such a tough time assimilating the Muslims who are in France right now, who are murderous threat to us. Most nations are not based on an idea. The United States and Israel are really the only two nations in all of human history, not based on ethnicity, but based on good ideas, democratic ideas. And both nations have brought people who don't necessarily look alike. I mean, people come to Israel, they're stunned. Israeli Jews look very different. Some are very dark, some are medium dark, some are very light, some are blonde-haired, blue-eyed. They're from all over the world. They come speaking many different languages, just like the United States. What unites them? What unites them is common ideas. And in the case of Israel, it's common ideas that are based upon Torah, that are based upon Torah at one core. And in the United States, our founders also wanted to base this country on what they saw as biblical principles. And it's also not a country where there's some accidental birth, you happen to be born here. It's a country where people are drawn together because of the ideas and the commitments they share. It's one of the reasons these two countries are bound so much together, and that we should feel perfectly comfortable praying for Israel. We should feel perfectly comfortable davening for the United States of America, because the success of one will be greater success for the other, and any danger to either country will mean great danger to the other. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this.